The line for Gate 42 moved slowly. The buzz of rolling suitcases, airport announcements, and the occasional baby's cry filled the terminal. David Sinclair, a man in his mid-40s wearing a worn leather jacket and eyes that spoke of tired years, sat alone near the window, sipping lukewarm coffee. He was headed back to Montana after a failed job interview in New York, another dead end in a string of disappointments. His flight was delayed, just like his life seemed to be. He wasn't looking for conversation. He wasn't looking for redemption. But redemption, sometimes, has a way of finding us. As he stared out at the runway, a young woman passed by him, hurried, head down, dark circles under her eyes, clutching a baby in her arms. She looked barely 20. Her hair was tangled, her coat too thin for the air-conditioned chill, and her hands visibly trembling as she fumbled for her boarding pass. David would have looked away, except the baby looked at him. It wasn't just a glance. The infant, nestled in a faded pink blanket, locked eyes with him, wide, unblinking, and oddly, knowing. That moment, something shifted. The woman tried to walk past him, brushing away tears before they could fall. But the baby's hands suddenly reached out, fingers grasping toward David as if pulled by invisible strings. The mother stopped, startled. David blinked. For a second, they just stared at each other. "I'm sorry," she whispered, embarrassed. "She does that to strangers sometimes." But the voice was hollow, the kind that said she hadn't slept in days, maybe hadn't eaten either. David hesitated before asking the most human of questions, "You okay?" The woman's lips quivered. "I'm fine." She wasn't. "Do you want to sit?" he offered gently. She hesitated, but then sank into the seat beside him, as if her legs couldn't hold her up anymore. David noticed a hospital bracelet peeking from under her sleeve. The baby's name, Mila Grace. They sat in silence, but not an awkward one. The baby rested her head against her mother's chest, then looked back up at David and smiled, a toothless, trusting smile that somehow filled a hole in his chest he didn't know was still there. "My name's David," he said. "Emily," she replied softly. The story unraveled in hesitant strands. Emily had left an abusive relationship 2 states over. No money. No family who'd pick up the phone. A friend in Denver had offered her a place to stay, but her connecting flight was delayed, and she didn't have enough for food. She'd spent the last of it on formula. David listened. Not with pity, but with something deeper. Recognition. Years ago, he'd lost his wife in childbirth. The baby didn't survive either. He never remarried. Never healed. He'd buried the pain in work, then whiskey, then quiet withdrawal. And yet, this baby. This moment. "Wait here," he said, standing up. Emily tried to stop him, but he waved her off. He returned minutes later with a warm sandwich, bottled water, and a travel kit for the baby. "It's not much," he said. "But it's something." Tears slipped down Emily's cheeks. "Why are you doing this?" David looked at Mila. "Because she reminded me that life gives us second chances, even if they come wrapped in pink blankets." The gate attendant called for final boarding. Emily clutched his hand. "You didn't have to, but thank you. Truly." He smiled. "Promise me something." "What?" "Keep going. For her. And when you can, help someone else who's trying to walk past their pain." She nodded, unable to speak. As Emily and Mila boarded, David stood watching until the plane disappeared from view. A handwritten letter arrived at David's doorstep. "Dear David. You didn't know me. But you saw me. And that saved me. Mila and I are safe in Denver now. I got a job. A roof. Hope. You gave me more than food, you gave me dignity. I named you on the emergency contact form at daycare. I hope that's okay. You're the closest thing to family we've had. Mila still reaches out when she sees someone kind. She remembers. With love. Emily and Mila Grace. David folded the letter with shaking hands. Outside his window, the sun began to rise. For the first time in years, he let it in. Sometimes, the smallest hands pull us back from the darkest places. Compassion doesn't always roar, it often whispers in quiet moments, between strangers. And one selfless act can change not one life, but 3.